Hello, and welcome to Carrier Code, your inside track to the strategies, stories, and leaders driving the trucking industry forward. Today's episode is brought to you by Driver's Legal Plan, the nation's leading CDL defense law firm, and produced by Bulldog, Trucking's podcast pros. My name is Christy Choice, and I am joined by my two co-hosts, Justin Copeland and Rocco Marrari. How's it going today, guys?
Hey, good.
Hey, everybody.
Woo. Hey, all right, another episode, and we are excited because today we are taking it back, everybody. We're taking it back to when things first began and the world of trucking was brand new to us. Today, class is in session. We are talking Transportation Topics 101, right? It's so funny, Rocco, we were talking and you were just like, yeah, it was like, the things that we didn't know back then are we just talking these acronyms now.
Mm-hmm. It is, and one of the funny ones I had is, when I started, again, now 13, 14 years in the industry, everybody kept talking about Deadhead. And I'm sitting there looking for a concert because I'm looking for Grateful Dead. I had no idea what
Jerry, huh?
I had no idea what that meant, so I'm not going to lie. It took me a little bit of Googling to figure out what deadheading back was. And it wasn't what I thought. Let me tell you guys that.
That's so funny. I know I probably nodded my head a whole lot, like, note to self, look that up. But I've learned a lot in so many of those side conversations. And if you are a carrier that's newer to the industry, or if you are an individual and you are in working at a carrier and you're like, yo, give me the cheat code, give me the lowdown on how these terms came to be. This is the episode for you. But also, if you're seasoned in the industry and you're like, oh, I remember when I had no idea what this was, we want you to stick around because there'll be some times where you can interact with us as well. We do have an email address, so we want to hear your terms that you stumbled on, when you were first in the industry. So know the code at carriercodepodcast.com if you have some suggestions for us. But let's go ahead and jump right in. Justin, what are the first few that we want to talk about today?
Oh, guys, I'll tell you, this is going to be a good topic. I love this. Even as a driver, when I first got in this industry, you still don't know all of these different acronyms or some of the terminology used around the industry. Well, so when I got out of the truck and got onto the operations side before I got into safety, I'm hearing all this stuff, in the office and I had to go, hey, what does that mean? And now you fast forward all this time later, and now at my organization, I'm the acronym guy. I turn everything into acronyms, and that's just driven off of really just the trucking industry as a whole, and the fact that I don't want to say all of these long names and organization titles and things like that every single time. So acronyms it is. And it all starts first with the Department of Transportation, or, U.S. Department of Transportation, however you want to say it, right? So DOT or U.S. DOT. Now, just for a little bit of education there, the Department of Transportation covers all modes of transportation. So it's like the higher level parent organization. Then that's where the FMCSA reports up to, right? So then you've got the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. All right. That is the body that governs us here in trucking. So everybody should be really familiar with that. Those are some of those appointed positions and stuff that you see change around every presidency, all of that. So those have certainly been probably in the news more recently here, with the new election. And so you'll hopefully, for those that are listening, that maybe your family member, somebody in the industry, and you yourself don't know all the terminology yet, maybe that's a little enlightening for you. Now, I mentioned Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, or FMCSA, right? Like, that's a mouthful. Why do you want to say that? Well, then next, right, what do they got? They then create the regulatory guidelines. Those are in what? The FMCSRs, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations. So that's that green book, either the little one that you might have in your truck or the big one, or now because of, it is 2025, right? So I don't even have a green book anymore. It's all just electronic. It's all on the internet, right? I've got to save. You just tab to the regulation pages and stuff and go to those and review those. But the FMCSRs are the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations. Those are the governing regulations for the industry. lastly, this is one that certainly I use quite a bit, and it is out there as a public resource for everybody within the trucking industry, to be able to use as well. And everybody knows it by its acronym. Ironically, this is the one that probably everybody knows for sure by its acronym.
I agree.
I do.
Safer.
Right?
Safer.
Safer, right? So what does Safer actually stand for all of you guys that have probably used Safer and used the website constantly, but you never look up there in that top left and actually read what it says? Safety and Fitness Electronic Records. So that's where you can either by name search a motor carrier, or by MC number or DOT number search a carrier, and you get to see more from a high level, not any of the specific details, but you get to see their safety performance. Are they active? Are they not active? You can see their national averages around vehicle and driver inspections, crashes, fatalities, even Canadian violations and inspections and stuff, as well as their last DOT audit, their last compliance review. Technical terms, the compliance review, right? But we all call it a DOT audit. That is where you'll be able to see that information, and you can see again some of their roadside performance history as well. It'll take you over to the SMS link in the top right corner, right? And SMS is the safety management system. So,
yay!
Yeah.
Oh my god, so that was really great. Oh my goodness! But hold on, you said MC, which stands for what, Justin?
Your motor carrier number. That's right. Here I am throwing in more acronyms, trying to confuse people even more.
Acronyms on top of acronyms. Oh my gosh! But I think that was really cool. And it's so funny because I am a grammar nerd, right? And so I love like spelling and acronym, like knowing what things are, what they mean, and what the real definition of it. I kind of geek out on that type of stuff. So it's hilarious because when someone says FMCSR, I cringe a little bit because I'm like, I'm over here trying not to convulse because I'm like, no, it is not that difficult. But I get it, guys. I get it. No judgment here. It's just the things that we hear and we're like, that's not what it is. That doesn't exist. Not in this industry.
Right.
Yet.
Yeah.
We never know.
We never know, Rocco. You are so right. Okay. So Justin, you talked about some of those, the governing agencies of how we run things in the transportation space. Rocco, let's talk about some things that might be specific to a driver, like a CDL.
Yeah. God, CDL. What could that mean? You got everybody we all should know, but we'll chat about that. Commercial driver's license. So, we all know drivers have to get specific training and pass certain courses in order to obtain that license type. CDL is basic. It's commercial driver's license. Not everybody has it, not everybody attains it, not everybody can keep it. So that's a good one to know. DVIR. Here's another fun one. And I know drivers love doing this. So guys, DVIR, that stands for Driver Vehicle Inspection Report. And really it is what it sounds like. And the purpose of this, though, we got to remember this is required. So you have to make sure that your drivers are doing this DVIR. It's very, very important to have within the industry here. Let's touch on telematics quickly. So we hear telematics tossed around all the time. So telematics covers a whole array of products, really just at a high level because we're doing acronyms 101 here. So at the highest level, telematics are going to cover your ELD. Hold on, Christy. I know you're about to say something there on that.
Tell us what it is. Break it down. That
is our electronic logs. So again, in the past, they had paper logs. Now we have electronic logs. So that's part of your telematics. Cameras are covered under telematics, guys. So that's another portion of having what you have in a truck for that driver. You can have your TPMS system, which is tire pressure monitoring system.
Woo!
So there's some telematics there. So all those tie together to really create that whole telematics world. It's just that big life cycle going around there, everybody. The next fun one is going to be driver type. Now, I'm guessing people new to the industry only think of one, right? And it's going to be your company driver. So what does that company driver do, guys? The company driver works for the company. I mean, they're employed by Acme Trucking. I mean, very, very simple. Where sometimes people get a little confused, and it even took me a little bit of time when I got in the industry, is when you see OO and IC. What in the world is OO and what is an IC?
So often confused, right?
It is. And
Yeah.
they're two completely different.
Yep.
So, the OO stands for an owner-operator. So if we break that down, it's basically that person owns that truck and they're moving freight for this carrier independently. Mm-hmm. They own the truck. They have to have the carry insurance. It's
their own DOT authority.
Their own DOT number. Yeah, everything. It's that owner's responsibility to be compliant and drive that. The independent contractor is really just how it sounds. They're a 1099 employee. And think about it this way. Think of Uber drivers. They're 1099 employees for Uber. It's the same exact concept here for the carrier guys.
Rocco, you said employee though. All right. Every HR person right now is cringing because you called them employees. Oh my goodness.
See? I mean, look what I just did.
Man,
look what I did.
California has a lawsuit for you, Rocco. It'll be in the mail. Okay.
California's got a lawsuit for me on everything. But no, they are not employees. They are independent. But basically they're 1099. They can either drive their own truck, they could drive one of the carriers, trucks. But again, they're working independently from the company drivers. And there's actually fleets out there that have all three of these in one. So, really, that's just a quick breakdown, guys, of what a fleet owner is versus owner operator versus an IC, which is an independent contractor who are not employees.
I'd like to circle back on a couple of those that you had mentioned because it just brings other acronyms to mind. All right. So you mentioned DVIR. Yep. DVIR, that's that post-trip documentation that you're supposed to complete. Now, 2018, they changed the regulation. It's not required unless there's a defect on the vehicle. The one place it is required, though, is when a vehicle defect has been found during an inspection. That's where the DOT can actually get you as a motor carrier for not completing the DVIR and noting the defects, the vehicle defects on that DVIR. That is I'll tell you right now, for all motor carriers, that is a tough thing to tackle. But you mentioned DVIR. Well, we didn't even think to mention. Bam. There we go. Driver vehicle examination report. Well, I'm the safety guy, right? I got to go there, right? So
you got to go there.
It just jumps right to mind. And that's your roadside inspection report. Whether it be clean or have violations, it's your driver vehicle examination report.
Justin, now you made me think of another one, guys.
Uh-oh.
ATS.
Oh.
What does ATS stand for, everyone? It's an applicant tracking system.
Uh-huh.
And that's when I got in, that I heard that all the time, and honestly, I had no idea what it meant.
Your
Zero.
ATS.
Yeah, that's all you hear.
Until you went and joined one, right?
Yeah. So again, guys, but that's where you fill out the application line, and it's an applicant tracking system. It is exactly what it says. So that's another little tidbit that just came to mind.
That's funny. So last week on LinkedIn, someone I know posted, hey, it really grinds my gears when I hear someone say ATS system, because ATS already stands for applicant tracking system. And so it's a little redundant to say applicant tracking system. So then I replied and I was like, what grinds my gears? When people say DQF files. Yes. DQF is already driver qualification files. So driver qualification files. It's a DQ file, right?
Yeah, either say DQ file or DQF.
That's it. And it means what it means. It means what it means. Yeah. And so now you all know the proper use of some of these terms here. Now, when we come back from break, we're going to jump into a few more topics you don't want to miss this next segment of the Carrier Code. Stay tuned.
Carrier Code is sponsored by Driver's Legal Plan, CDL ticket defense for professional drivers. Hey, Justin from Carrier Code here. I'd like to thank Driver's Legal Plan. They protected my CDL while I was out there on the road. They can protect yours too.
It just takes a phone call. It's only $2.98 a week, and they will help protect your CDL.
Contact Driver's Legal Plan today and let them defend you like they have me and more than 400,000 other cases. When you need CDL ticket defense, there's only one, Driver's Legal Plan. Call 1-800-580-8789 or visit driverslegalplan.com for your free consultation. Again, that's 1-800-580-8789 or driverslegalplan.com.
Welcome back to Carrier Code Podcast. Today we are tackling some trucking terms, okay? So class is in session. This is Trucking Terms 101. In the first session, we talked a little bit about some of the terms that you might have already heard and know, but we broke it down a little bit. Justin started talking about the DOT and FMCSA, and we talked about the differences in FMCSA and FMCSR. Rocco started telling us a little bit about the CDL, DVIR, DVIR. If you missed any of it, go back and listen to it. But if you think we've left something off the list, go ahead and shoot us an email. Know the code at carriercodepodcast.com. We are excited to hear from you. But let's go ahead and jump on into a few more terms. Now, when we talk about a consumer report, that's just a background report, really. So I hear those quite often, but some of those might be an MVR, which is a motor vehicle report. And so, we like to really use these acronyms here, but yeah, MVR comes to mind. So does CDLIS and the PSP. But let's talk about what those things are.
Yeah. As you mentioned that, right? So PSP is basically the driver's report card, right? And that's the way that we look at it. That's the way that I look at it, certainly. And so does the organization and our recruiters. But what does it stand for, right? It's the pre-employment screening program. It's another program that was developed, and heck, usually I'm really good with the years and when these things actually come out. I don't remember this one exactly, but it is the driver's report card. You get inspection history for the last 3 years, and you get DOT related crashes for the last 5 years. Now, It's important to actually look at this document pretty closely. Most motor carriers do not have in their hiring guidelines a defined, hey, if it's X amount of violations, we can't hire them, because there's a lot to it's nuanced, right? You've got to be able to look at those and be able to judge and make decisions based off of what you see as far as trends and things like that, because even though someone might have had a negative trend at one point on that card, if you start seeing more and more positive trends, clean inspections, that's what we're looking for, behavior change, right? We've talked about that on some other episodes. That's a behavior change, and that's a positive one. And so, PSPs, something that certainly widely used around the industry.
Yes.
But not everybody uses them. What about
here's
what
the
about
thing.
CDLIS?
Wait, hold on. Let's talk about the PSP. There is a fun fact. Okay. Now, I once worked with a carrier that said, hey, I feel like I'm really playing catch up, and I need to run PSPs on these 20 drivers. And I said, oh, okay. Did you just hire them? Oh, no, they've been with me for a while. So PSP stands for Pre-Employment Screening Program. It's actually illegal to run a PSP, post-hire.
No.
Right?
Really?
And so, that was not a great conversation because, they had been advised something else, but you could clearly understand that when they were saying PSP without understanding what it actually is. So we're here to help you out here at Carrier Code Podcast, but sometimes we got to really dig in and figure out what are you looking to do? What problem are you trying to solve here? But yeah, that was a takeaway that I'll remember forever. But now we can talk about the CDLIS. It's funny because some people call it CDLIS, and I've just known it as CDLIS. Right? It just means Commercial Driver License Inspection System. Break it down. What is it?
The CDLIS. Well, yeah, I'm sorry, I got to correct you a little bit there, but it's the Commercial Driver's License Information System.
Oh,
so yes.
Oh, I didn't say information?
No, you said inspection, but hey, listen, I get it, right?
Okay.
It's okay. Freudian slip, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
So the CDLIS. CDLIS is something that came around many years ago. There's supposed to be a lot more information that's not in there today, like the medical information. But what you use that for as a motor carrier is confirmation that a driver possesses one single CDL. One. That's it. And so that's what it is. It's the checks and balances. Back in the day, drivers would maybe get CDLs from different states because states didn't talk to each other. They certainly didn't cancel an old license. Right.
Justin.
Just BS. It didn't happen.
On. That never happened.
I got stopped in Nevada with my Arizona license, but I got stopped in Ohio with my Michigan license. It's like having alternate personalities out there, but just trying to skirt the system back in the day. But that's what the CDLIS is for.
Yeah. All right. All right. Okay. Well, we're rolling through these. And now let's talk about the med card. Lots of folks refer to this in different ways. Sometimes I hear it as the CME or the MEC. I've heard it referred to as, or CDME, but it's just a medical card. And then there's the long form physical. So I guess we got to talk about all of it if we're going to talk about a little bit of it. What do y'all think?
Yeah, absolutely. Jump right into all of that. Certainly, as you had mentioned, people may refer to it a little bit differently. But CME is your certified medical examiner. That is the examiner themselves that are conducting the physical examination. When you talk about an MEC is one part of that long form, everything that the driver would be given. But the MEC is the medical examiner's certification. That's the actual card that has to go now to the FMCSA, then directly to the state licensing agencies, SDLAs, state driver's licensing agencies, and be linked to their CDL. Yeah. What about some of the other ones there, Christy?
Oh, yes. All right. So this is a really, really cool one because we already talked about the FMCSA, but then there's also CSA. And I love to talk about this because you would think that CSA stands for what FMCSA stands for, but it actually doesn't. CSA stands for compliance, safety, and accountability. And you get your CSA scores. And Justin, I need you to ever so eloquently tell us about the SMS and the CSA. I mean, there's so many things that are connected here, but I think it merits a little bit of discussion. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. CSA, the infamous scoring and ranking system put out there by the FMCSA back in 2010. As you had mentioned, right? Compliance, safety, accountability, and so that drives your CSA scores and across the different categories, and it is something that every motor carrier had better be very familiar with. I'll tell you that. That is what is going to drive your safety rating and therefore lead to inspections out on the road if your scores are not in a good place. Let's put it that way, right? You've got alerts and thresholds that you got to worry about. But you had mentioned the SMS, and I previously stated this, right? It's the safety management system. So that's the back end system that shows your CSA scores. Again, that's where you see your basics and your very specific violations and or crashes. That's where you're going to look at that information, and you should actually make sure that you are watching that very closely, because if you have challenged any violations, you certainly use a company like one of our sponsors here, Driver's Legal Plan, to contest a citation related to a violation. Then you need to file that and make sure that you get that removed and that it actually does get removed. So
that's good info there. Yes, because the carrier has a CSA score in different categories that they're able to see, but then the driver, that information specific to them is on their PSP report, right? So understand the governing agencies and then how it impacts carriers versus how it impacts drivers. Oh, that's good information there.
Guys, and being that this is, trucking terms 101, I have a couple here that I want to make sure that we touch on. And they're simple, to us now, but possibly to somebody brand new, it may be confusing. Like, what is OTR?
Ooh.
When we talk OTR, I mean, to us, we know that's over the road. That's a long haul driver, right? Another simple one, what's FTL? Full truckload. Then we have LTL, guys.
LTL.
Less than truckload. So typically you'll see a full truckload be an OTR. You really don't see too many LTLs, but you can. Those are typically local deliveries, as we all know. Another one, BOL. What's a
bill of lading?
Bill of lading. What's the bill of lading, guys? That's a legal document that details what cargo, destination, all the terms. And then when you sign that bill of lading, what does that become? A POD. The proof of delivery. So now we can show that we actually delivered this with a POD by a signed BOL. I mean, I know this gets confusing, but it's just those little, terminology. And then I have a fun one. I have a real fun one.
Okay. What do you got?
It's not an acronym, but it's a yard jockey. I just always love that one because it's not a little guy.
Names there are for that.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was like, it has nothing to do with horse racing.
Yeah.
You mean
Nothing.
no?
You're just you're moving trailers within a yard or the terminal, something like that. But those those little terms that, we take for granted that we know now that, possibly somebody coming in has no idea what a yard jockey is, or even, jake braking, something like that, where, the driver's trying to slow the engine down, without hitting the brake. And that gets very, very loud. If anybody ever heard any jake brakes.
Very, very clearly tell that we will need to do a trucking terms 201 class, because there's so much more to talk about. Okay, let's wrap it up here. There's a couple of really, really good ones. DQF, driver qualification file. We talked about it. Every carrier needs to maintain a driver qualification file on their hired drivers. You can be audited, and DOT is going to come in and they're going to ask to see the DQ files, especially if after, let's say, certain crashes. There are certain events that can trigger a DOT audit, and that's kind of one of them. But making sure that you have your DQ files in order for all your hired drivers is really important. We talk about it all the time, but yep, that DQF. All right.
Well, Christy, speaking about the DQF, there's one more that goes in, and this is a document or documents that go into that file. Well, why don't you share the VOE with us?
Oh my God. I have heard this called so many things. Yeah, the VOE, not the Vogue. The VOE. Okay. So the VOE, the verification of employment, otherwise known as the PEV, previous employment verification, also known by its regulatory title of the safety performance history, which includes drug and alcohol, accident, and employment history. But with the onset of the DACH, which is the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse, on an employment verification, now you can just go to the clearinghouse to get the drug and alcohol records, because it's been way more than 3 years since the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse has been started, and it's going pretty well. I would think it was rocky at first, y'all. It was rocky.
Jeez. You want to talk about rocky? Holy cow.
Yeah.
With very little guidance too, right?
Yeah.
So, it was January of 2020, it went into effect, and gosh, I can't tell you how many times we emailed it over and over and over. We can't verify this driver, and they were you can't put him to work until you have this. It's like, okay, but you're not allowing me to have it. So, they got to make money. We still got to move freight, right? Like,
Man, we have some war stories for the clearinghouse. Yes.
And we're kind of reliving that here as of June 2025 with the NRII, the National Registry Phase 2. So where the medical cards are automatically submitted through the FMCSA, which those have been going there for many, many years, a long time, that they're automatically submitted there, and then they go and they're electronically transferred and therefore put on their CDLs again with the SDLAs, state driver's license agencies.
Yeah.
And while we're on that real quick, guys, let's give some of our organizations here some lingo here. So we have the ATA, American Trucking Association, TCA, Truckload Carriers Association, NTTC, National Tank Truck Carriers, MPTC, National Private Truck Council. We could go on and on and on. I know we missed a bunch of you guys, but again, everything we do in trucking, we might as well be CCP.
Hey, we are. Hey, yo, I like that, Rocco.
Are you down with CCP?
Yeah, you know me. Oh, snap. Okay, well, when we pick this conversation back up at a later date, we'll make sure to have a song for you. We might even have a rap for you, okay? Carrier Code is brought to you by Drivers Legal Plan, the nation's leading CDL defense law firm, and produced by Bulldog, Trucking Podcast Pros. New episodes drop every single week, so be sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you never miss an episode. Okay? You can listen on your favorite podcast platform, watch on YouTube, or visit us anytime at carriercodepodcast.com. You'll also find us on social channels at Carrier Code Podcast. Thanks so much for joining us today, where we talked about Trucking Terms 101. And until next week, I'm Christy.
And I'm Justin.
Now Rocco.
And this is Carrier Code.